Hello and welcome.
He's back. He's back. This is episode 158. On the last episode I said it was 158, but because partner in crime Zabbo was not here.
Oh, to audit you? I wasn't here for that.
To audit.
Yeah, this is...
I feel like I haven't seen you forever, Mike.
It's been a long time.
Lots of rumours about where you were and what you were doing, so I'll throw a couple at you.
It's an undisclosed location, yeah.
Okay, how's Santa?
Wasn't there. Wasn't at the North Pole.
I thought you were. Yep. Some guys were thinking you were maybe up seeing Santa in the middle of the year just to get an idea of orders for Christmas.
Nope.
Therapy for dealing with
close
Disneyland.
Yeah. No, I've come to terms with that. I'm not there. No.
Okay. Where were you?
Well, it was
golf in Augusta.
Close. I was at the Dave Pell's short game school. He was trying to cure my shanking woes, and it didn't work out too well.
I thought you were going to.
I'm going to give up the game. No, I was actually back in Rhode Island. I was visiting the fam for a few weeks. It was good. I went back and got a couple of stories from back there for sure. I was brought the golf clubs. I mean, I had a cousin text me, member at a pretty nice course, and he said, I have a tournament coming up. Why don't you want to play? I hear you're going to be in town. I'm like, heck yeah, I'll play. And brought the clubs. Little did I know that it was a scramble. Had I known it was a scramble, I probably wouldn't have brought my clubs.
What do you pay for the clubs now? Somebody talked about Southwest Airlines
They don't do free check bags anymore. Yeah. Although if you have a Southwest credit card, it is free for your first bag. So oddly enough, you mentioned this. Even with a golf bag, it's free if you have a Southwest credit card. So me being the, the frugal man that I am, I tucked as many clothes as I could into the golf bag. So I loaded up my whole, 2 weeks worth of clothes in the golf bag, and I'm trying to make sure it's under 50 pounds. And on the scale at home, it was like 49.9 pounds. When I get to the airport, it's like 53 pounds. I'm like, oh no. And they're like, we'll let it slide, bro. We'll get you there.
I would love to know what it's like being rich when the whole travel experience must change.
What, when you're flying private?
No, when you're flying private, you actually have to weigh the bags, apparently, as it turns out.
That's true, yeah.
But to not... The things we think about before traveling compared to what really wealthy people do.
I can't bring 2 bags. I just got to cram everything into one.
I'll be like, okay, what snacks and sandwiches can I throw in so I don't have to pay for food at the airport? No, we just go to the lounge.
Yeah. I'm lucky my wife wasn't with me because when I went through, I had my water bottle and my coffee, and I forgot about my water. It just had ice in it. But I had my coffee, and I'm walking up to
go
through security.
Really?
And I figure, they're going to have a trash can right there or that like liquid thing where you can dump it out.
No.
And I walk up, and they're like, you got liquid in there? I'm like, well, yeah, but you got the thing. I'm just going to dump it out here. They're like, no. Back around, back out. There's a thing out there. You can dump it. So I dump out the coffee. And then I'm like, all right, I'm good to go. Go through the thing, and I forget about the ice and a little bit of water. I put it through the belt, and they pull me aside for security, and he's like, hey, man, you got liquid in there? I'm like, no, it's just ice. He's like, back you go.
What an idiot. Do you know they could do a podcast about all the idiots that they have to deal with?
They could.
Because you are that guy.
I was that guy, yeah.
I can't stand people like you at the airport. But, welcome back, Zabbo. It's good to see you.
Yeah.
Have you been back working?
I have been back. Funny enough, I was worried about, getting material for this podcast because, I didn't have anything fresh from previous weeks and months working. So I worked the last 8 days, and man, what an 8 days.
On giving.
Oh, like we talk about, it's an endless supply of stories. You meet so many different people. My first loop back, I was happy that I was working with my boy Troy. I talk about Troy a lot on the podcast. Mm-hmm. Real good dude. But we had this group. They were from Las Vegas, and I'll mention their real first names. They run one of the big hotel / casinos high up there in the hotel.
Yeah,
and they had their liquor distributor brought them incentive trip. They sold another, and they were like, oh, we got to reward the casino and bring out the guys.
How much you shifting for that?
Yeah,
trip,
so Samantha from Ireland, you would have liked her. Yeah, but she's
why would that be? Just like Samantha from Ireland.
You'd really like her because she's up your alley, from near your homeland. Yeah, that's funny. It's kind of a racist thing to say to you, isn't it? But
I get offended. You know how I get offended so easily.
So Terrence and Chris, I caddied for great guys. They worked in the casino business, and David as well, same casino. So we had a great time the first day. Got a feel for them. They wanted us the second day. being casino people too, you know, Samantha's paying for everything, so she's got to throw the caddies money. And you can see Terrence, like, he really wanted to give money, like, because those are the people we like caddying for. They want to shell it out. And I'm like, no, Samantha took care of it. You're good, you're good. Because she paid properly. So we walk away, and we meet him the next day. And a bunch of laughs. I didn't realize Terrence was a little under the weather. And we're on, like, the second or third hole at the big course. And he's like, man, I was up all night, you know, at the toilet and stuff. Like, didn't know which end it was coming out of, but I knew it wasn't good. All right, so Chris, we were on, I forgot about this. We were on the fifth tee at the big course, and he tells me the story. Being in Vegas, you come across, especially in their business, you come across, you know, musicians and star comedians and stuff like that. So they're playing at this course they always play at, and they're paired with this country. I'm not going to mention his name because he's a very well-known country musician, and he sees, you know, Terrence and Chris, they're Vegas guys. They like to play golf. They like to play golf for money. So they're playing for money, and this country music star goes, hey, Chris, I see you're playing for a little money. How about we play a little? And this guy just signed he told me the number. It was like a $20 million record deal. And he wants to play Chris. He goes, how about we play for $1,000 a hole? And Chris is like, nah, man, I don't really know you that well. I don't want to start getting into it like that. And he's like, all right, how about we play for, you know, $500 a hole? And Chris is like, no, man. He's like, how about $100 a hole? Chris is like, okay, well, I'll pay for $100 a hole. And so they're playing, you know, Chris ends up, you know, up like $600 through going into the 18th hole, and then he aloha presses, the country music star aloha presses everything.
The aloha press, by the way, folks, if you don't know what aloha is a Hawaiian term.
Yes,
to do with Hawaii. What does it mean? Hello?
Yeah, it means hello, but aloha means
if you want to do the bet, double or quits.
Yeah, you win all your money back,
or you double
it. So he gets down there. The country music star has like a 2.5 3-footer for a par to win the hole. Chris is in for 5, and he like doesn't swipe it, but he backhands it and misses it. Chris doesn't say it's good. He goes and he looks at him and goes, "Oh, I just assumed that was good," and he missed it. And Chris is like threw up his hands, like what, like, and he walked away not paying any money. Like country music star, like. He was going to bet him. He was probably never going to pay him any money. He was just looking.
Dirtbags.
So Terrence is ill the whole time. They're gambling too. We don't even get behind. We're playing fine. We get to the turn. And actually, before we get to the turn, I tell Troy, I was having a little stomach issue myself. I'm like, I'm not going to make it to I'm definitely not going to make it to the green. So Samantha, gal, obviously she's playing the red tees. So they all hit, so discreetly, they hit it pretty decent. Terrence and Chris hit it pretty decent. So I take off, hit the bathroom, get it back in plenty of time. Samantha's just teeing off, get back in plenty of time.
Oh, wow.
I meet Chris up there. Chris isn't even the ill one. He's like, man, is there a bathroom coming up? I really got to go. And the group was still on the green. I was like, I didn't even tell him I had just been because I was about to lose it. Made it back in time. I go to the bathroom with Chris, right? Because he's got to go. Wait for him. We're still plenty of time. We play out number 9. We're going to the tee. The group's almost clear to hit, but now it's Terrence's turn because he's the ill one. He's got to hit the bathroom. And there's one of the marshals there, and you know this marshal. We won't mention him by name right now, but he's one of the not really, really good at his gig. And he's like, you guys have to go hit the tee. And Terrence looks at me, he goes, I ain't hitting the tee. There's only one place I'm going. I'm like, I was like, hey, man, we're okay. We're going. He's like, no, go to the tee. And I'm like, it's not happening. We're going to the restroom. So we drive to the restroom, and Chris is like, he's going to get something. And the marshal starts chirping at him, like, you need to walk to the tee. And he goes, look, man, we just told you we're fine. We played the front 9 in 3 hours. We're just fine. We're going to be okay. And he starts the marshal starts chirping. Chris just steps to him and was like, gives him the business. And Chris tells me later, the marshal says, you don't really know how this golf course operates. And Chris goes, walk away right now. And he wanted to chirp back and forth with him.
Incredible.
It was bad.
Those boys from Vegas know how things operate.
They know exactly. They know how things operate. And Terrence was fine. He had to hit the bathroom for a bit.
I feel sorry for the bathroom. That would make sense.
It got hit 3 times by all 3 of us.
Was this like a week ago?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense because it was. I remember I was there the next day, and it was. They wrapped it like it was a crime scene. All that yellow tape. don't cross here. There's a crime was committed yesterday.
That was us. Yeah, it was a mess. And actually, it was. Yeah, all three of us kind of destroyed it. So they were actually witness to another good one between Troy and myself. So we're on the 6th hole at the big course, and this guy, you know how they do from we're on the 8th hole waiting, and you know how they do from the 6th hole, they spray it left to 8 and they have to chip up. So the guy's down there. And he's like, "Did you see my ball?" And I'm like, "Yeah, bro, it's right here." And he's like, "Oh, this is such a hard hole." And he's hitting up. And Troy looks at me and he goes, "Zabbo," he goes, "on average, if you took every shot a player hits and you took it at the end and add them up, what do you think it would be on average?" And I started thinking about it. I said, on average, if you have to hole out everything, play by the rules and all, 130, 140. And he goes,
average.
Yeah. And he goes, "I think it would actually be higher." And I said, well, nobody ever plays by the rules. That's the problem. They bastardize the game, and then the group comes up and they're like, "What are you guys talking about?" "Well, we're talking about the average guy, what they play." Like this guy, he's had like 10 or 11 shots. I'm kidding you not. He gets back in the cart. The other guy goes, "Tony, what'd you have there?" He goes, "Put me down for a 6." And we all look at each other and start laughing. The guy looks at us and he could tell like we were laughing at him. He literally said, "Put me down for a 6." We were like, "Dude, we saw you hit 7 shots from up here. It took you 8 or 9 to get there." It was just classic, and I'm glad Chris and Terrence and Samantha and David were there for it. And at the end, like we were talking about, they were like, Samantha paid, and they're like, no, Mike, hold on, and they shelled out. And then Chris texted me the other day. He was like, "Hey, man, you come out to Vegas, we'll take good care of you." And he's been listening to this podcast.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Fantastic. That's great to hear. It's not all been great, by the way. I've had a really very busy 8 weeks out here. A lot of request work.
While you were working while I was gone? I thought you were missing me too. You couldn't be out there without me. No,
when I go out to the course, I feel closer. I feel closer to you. I had these two lads. I don't know. You get in a role and you want to keep going. Sometimes having a day off is worse than actually continuing to work.
True.
So I kept on working, do a bench job. I'd been in a very, very good role. It was like hitting down playing like 10-pin bowling.
You figure you could keep the streak going, just take one off the bench and pull one out of there.
Yeah. And, oh dear, it had to come down. It just had to come down to these two lads. I said, I'll take it. I'll take the job. I worked with my mate Spencer. I actually fell back. That's what it was. Just to work with them. Yeah. And I'd see these two lads I've got, and they looked lost. They kind of looked lost.
Yeah, deer in the headlights. I shouldn't be here, but I am.
Early 70s. And the one lad, he had his breakfast down his front, and his pants, his trousers, right? I don't know what's on them, right? It looks like a mayonnaise type substance. I'm not asking, by the way. And I thought to myself, wait, he looked homeless.
God, yeah.
Right, I'm thinking, that's not.
Sometimes those are the best guys.
Yeah, not this
time.
Not this. I could tell. And they were one was from San Jose, one was from San Diego, and I was like, "Oh, San Diego, that's lovely." And he goes, "Well, I must be the only one that hates it." That was the first.
Geez.
That was the first interaction. I kind of asked what the handicaps, and it was almost like a fight to get the handicaps. Well, I don't really know. I don't
really keep an index. Yeah.
I'm asking. You're just trying to ask little questions in the first tee, just so the listeners understand. We're off a cart, so we're just trying to figure out. Okay, what tees do you want to play? Number one.
That's a big one. Let's figure that out.
We can't figure that out. By the way, this is too much of a
too complex.
Well, I'll decide then. We're playing the white tees.
Yes.
And we get the one lad. He had 2 or 3 wedges, but the rest of them were hybrids. So he's got a 13 hybrid and 11 hybrid.
Oh, jeez.
But I'm just trying to get some information about what's your 150 club? Why do you want to know? Well, so the way this works is you'll drive and I'll grab the clubs.
Very defensive.
I just knew I was on a hiding to nothing. We get to the third tee and it was it was the first 2 holes are painful. But I knew I had a really good week coming up, so I didn't really bother me. The boy hit a bad drive. The one with the dirty trousers, he hits a bad drive. And he turns to me and he says, "If you really want to help me today, you'll make sure that there's complete silence and no movement 10 seconds before I hit my shot."
What?
Yeah, so I'm thinking,
God.
So we're playing with these 2 lads, Ryan and Jared. And the lad called Ryan snap hooks off the third tee. And his caddy wasn't paying attention, Spencer.
Mm.
Ryan doesn't know. And I'm thinking that's going pretty close to the green. So there was a late shout at 4. Hit a guy in the hand.
Oh, no.
So the boy Ryan feels really awful because he didn't really know.
But you yelled 4 at the last minute.
I think the caddy did.
Gotcha.
But I don't think it's any bonus when you hear the word 4 and then get hit in the hand.
Yeah, right after. Later. Yeah, that's no good.
This boy Ryan's hit someone. He feels really bad about it. Get in the green. Dirty Pants is about to hit this putt. He's about 30 feet away. And I take the pin out and he's staring at me. I says, what, you want the pin back in? He says, no, I'm waiting for him to stop moving.
Oh,
This guy Ryan was walking maybe or some sort of movement.
Wow.
So that was the kind of vibe of the group.
It's no fun for anybody, including him.
We get to the end. The tip card came out. He had it. The boy had it in his hand. He took.
He's staring at us. He's looking at you.
He took an age, and they give me the lowest of the totem pole on the recommended tip card, which, by the way, should get burnt. It's shocking, right? I mentioned my elbow with the acupuncture, it's sore, etc.
To these guys?
Yeah,
like they care.
No,
they did.
The Dirty Pants guy. The pro shop's there. There's people coming off 18. There's people about to tee off, and right in the middle of it all, I've got my jumper sleeve rolled up, and he's massaging my elbow.
Oh, jeez.
And he's going, right, press down here, press back. And I tell you what,
it worked out.
Hats off to it. Shite tip, but he kind of sorted out my elbow a wee bit.
Well, maybe it was worth it then.
No, it wasn't worth it. Should have stayed at home.
Wasn't worth it?
Well, it was only worth it to get a wee bit of a story, but very poor. But apart from that, fantastic. Had your boy Burton in town, Richard.
Oh, yeah. He's a dedicated podcast listener.
Absolute
I was bummed
top
that I
lad.
met you, Rich. Yeah.
Unbelievable the data that he's got.
Oh, it's crazy.
I'd never spent any time with him like you told me, but
yeah,
he's like a
he's on
like
top
a drone.
of it. He is. He really is. He knows his stuff.
Great to caddy for though, Mike. You have him trained very well. I would say, right, what club? No, I'm done in this hole. I'm done. Picking up. Off we go. Easiest loop of the year. So easy.
So easy. And yeah, very fun to be around.
And his son's got a girlfriend.
He does, steady one. Yeah, that he's been living with. Love you, Douglas.
I told him that Zabbo's always talking about having the son on. I says, no. I think we want him on.
We do want both of them on.
I would say, I'd probably go more for dad than son, to be honest, because he actually got great information about running a golf club as well.
Mm-hmm.
So in the previous episode with Chang and Ryland, we discussed bunkers, actually, and that was one of the points that we made. Did you listen to that episode, or are you jealous?
I did listen to that episode, yeah. It was good.
Would you have a part 2 to that one?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, you'd have to come along, keep things moving.
Yeah, for sure.
What else you got?
Oh, a couple of days after I have Chris and Terrence, I get a call from another listener to the podcast, Evan Couture.
Oh, yeah.
Dedicated listener.
Yes,
and he's like, hey, man, I got this group playing tomorrow real early. Could you do it? They're going late in the afternoon, too. You want a caddy for them? I was like, of course I do. 2 loops. He's like, it's only this amount of money, but, I was like, you're going twice. I'm like, I need to pile them on, man. I'm going on vacation again, so I need to pile them on. So I get there, and you talk about a legend. Actually, Evan sent you a picture of this group on the 6th hole at the week course. And beautiful group. We got to shout out all these guys because they're dedicated podcast listeners at this point. Evan, David, Danny, and Josh. I had Danny and Josh. You talk about legend up your alley as far as the drinking. They were raging and having fun. We had a lot of fun with them. And, it's going along well. We have a good first round. And you talk about bad putting. Josh owns his bad putting. Told me, from the get-go, my putting is atrocious. I can't make anything. And, man, he was not lying. If it was, they would not give him anything. If it was outside, a foot, he was having to putt it and more than likely missing it. It was bad. He told me to talk about his putting woes and maybe have him on so he could discuss his childhood trauma. So the second day, we kind of, all his buddies were practicing on the putting green, and I was like, hey, bro, you might want to, roll a few, get the feel for the greens. They're like, dude, it's not going to get any better. Let's just get out there. And, they're talking smack to each other all day back and forth. And they, this type of group, they always have one that stands out, and Evan kind of stands out as far as being loud and obnoxious. And Josh all day is looking at him. He's like, bro, are you ever going to shut up before I'm heading? Are you ever going to shut up? I've kind of had it with this. Be quiet. Let me hit the ball. Ridiculous. And so I have Danny and Josh.
Yeah.
Danny, by the way, I'm an 18 handicap, and he was truly an 18. not very good. But I had him. I think caddies more than anybody. Like we help the 5 handicap, we help the +2, we help the 10, but more than anything, I think we help the 18 more than anything. The 18 handicap, we can get them around, especially if you give them little nuggets here and there on how to improve their chipping, putting, driving, whatever.
100%.
So he steps up on the 6T at the Wii course, and all the caddies on the road, we may see this 5, 6, 8, maybe 10 times a year. He could hit it, but he stepped up, swung with the driver, totally whiffed it. I'm total whiffed. Here, we see that like normally we see it with ladies. Sorry, Danny, but we see it 5, 10 times a year. Totally whiffs it. What's the hardest thing to do after you whiff is step up there and hit the next one. But he could hit it. Stepped up there, he striped it from the gold tee. Striped it, had like 125 out. Ended up making par after whiffing. Which his buddies were nice because they were paying for a good amount of money, and they gave him that free swing for the whiff, and he came through and made the par. It was pretty incredible. Anyways, that was the first day. So the second day, they're going along, drinking, having a good time, smoking a little bit of
ganja,
yeah, and having fun. And Josh on the 11th hole, he goes, on 13, I think I might take some mushrooms. And he's like, he was kind of asking and like questioning. I'm like, yeah, that's probably a good read. Why not? We might as well. But anyway, so on the 13th hole at the big course, Josh hits one right. And Josh, you're going to remember this. I will take most of the blame for this. And he got into it with me, and he was really, really mad at me. I hadn't had this in a while. He was genuinely mad at me, kind of for good reason, but we'll get into that. So he hits one way right on 13. I know exactly how far he hits his clubs. Second day with him. So he's like 125 out, playing 140. And it was, I'm like, he hits it far. I was like, he could maybe get his 52 there, but we're probably going to need his pitching wedge. So I get in the bag. I grab his 60. I grab his 56 pitching wedge. I don't see the 52 in there. I don't know where it is. It's not in the other bag. So I'm like, all right, I get out there, and I'm like, it's 125, playing 140. Let's hit your pitching wedge. He's like, nah, I think it's the 52. I'm like, well, it's not in your bag. It wasn't in Danny's bag. I'm like, Evan's up there, or I'm working with somebody else in the afternoon. He was up there with the cart. I was like, it's got to be in that bag. But so anyways, I talk him into hitting the pitching wedge. It hits like back left and kicks left of the green, down by the tee on number 9. So it looks like it's like 70 yards long, and he is heated. And he's like running up to the other players in the green. This is bullshit. He didn't like it. He was mad. And I get it. In hindsight, Josh, you probably needed the 52. That was on me. But he reeled it in after that. He settled down. We had a great finish. Tons of fun. This group, you would have absolutely loved this group. And, Evan told me he told me what they were paying at first. And after the first round, they were like, hey, man, can we get you in the afternoon? Can we pay in the afternoon? I'm like, oh, here we go. Bro. And at the end, they were like, hey, do you have Venmo? I'm like, oh, here we go. The old Venmo. But they came hard, dude. They were great dudes, paid. And they said, we look forward to coming back. So
fantastic. I've slowly started, if someone wants to hit the club they want to hit, just let them hit it. I'm no longer getting involved in that of choosing someone's club.
Well, gee, I would have let him hit it, but I didn't have it. And luckily, it wasn't left behind. It was in the other bag. And I was like, hey, man, we have your 52. And we moved on from there, but they were so much fun. And they're going to be back. Great guys. Hopefully you get to meet them.
We're going to have to move on to our little break, Zabbo, because I get loads of bits and pieces.
All right, before we move on, I just have to say, the guy, because a lot's happened in the 8 days I was back. There's a couple more groups. We'll get to you. I know you're waiting to hear your stories, and we'll get you to, because they're listening to the podcast too, and it may not come out for a while, but we're going to get there.
I got a ton of stuff. Argentinian polo players, Goldie in town.
Love Goldie.
Acupuncture. But we need to move on. We need to move on.
Okay.
You've mentioned in the past about your short game being incredible. Probably one of the best that's ever played the game.
Funny you say that because, I played 2 rounds while I was back east, and both times there was mention of how nice I was chipping the ball.
Well, there's a caddy I worked with recently. Yeah. He came down, so he caddies for a guy that was hosting Wallace a couple of years back. This is about 5-6 years ago, maybe 7 years ago. And Wallace says, well, I can't I got to go with that guy's recommendation. It's his caddy. He's paying for the round.
Gotcha. Yeah.
He's hosting us. Oh, no worries. It's fine. So he calls me after the round. He says, "Tell me what you know about this guy." I went, "I don't know." I'm like, "What do you want to know?" He says, "Did he ever play mini tours?" I went, "Not that I'm aware of." And he says, "Well, he told us he played in the mini tours. And if it wasn't for the fact that he didn't have length off the tee, he'd have been in the PGA Tour. Because
it wasn't me, dude."
it was not you. Being pedantic, I then went to speak to somebody and say, "What's his handicap?" At which point I was told his handicap's 13. I thought, that is one of the biggest lies you can tell. So I've always remembered this about this caddy. And I recently caddied with him. And we're on the 16th hole. I don't know, you stand next to me and he turns and he kind of like does that kind of like boxing move, you know, as if he was like fake punching me. Which is maybe a totally different story. This lad's in his 50s. And he said, I looked at him like, what are you doing? And he said, "Oh, just give me a chance at one round with Jake Paul." I said, "One round, okay." And he goes, "Put a couple of hundred in me, you'd win money in that." I was like, "What, you think you could beat Jake Paul?" And he goes, "Yeah, I've got a chin. He starts talking about he's got a chin. I'm like, "Yeah, but you've also got a massive gut." And you don't train. And I was like, so this conversation continues. He then tells me that he thinks in this current situation he'd beat Tyson as well. And this caddy thinks that he could beat either Jake Paul or Mike Tyson at boxing.
Could you beat him, do you think?
Yes, I would probably just kick him in the chest, kick him in the gut. Or I would just get a piece of steak out and kind of wave it like you would, you see in the movies with the security dogs,
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. Anyway,
I caddied with a newer caddy the other week, and people ask you, like, what's your lowest round? And he said 63. And I was like, and they asked him, like, do you play golf? He said, I haven't played in so many years. I'm like, I don't know, bro.
Usually when the caddy's nose starts growing, as soon as he comes out with the answer.
We should have a podcast about caddy lies. I mean, there's some belters. How about the caddy said he played in the Masters? It's like, dude, man, we can look that up.
Oh, man. But what's worse is the caddy that believed him. An adult said, no, but maybe he's right. And I'm like, we had this huge argument. We're like, hold on, you honest? Well, he may be right. What part of this is we missing here? How can you be 60 years old and believe that? So anyway, if you want to get in contact with us, podcast@glorifieddonkey.com. That's the email address. Otherwise, social media. Just search for Glorified Donkey.
Who is this caddy that wants to fight Jake Paul?
Tell you after. I'll tell you after. First question. This comes from, I love this one. It's a John Appleton, 6 handicap.
Johnny,
and he's from Charlie in England, which is sort of North England. It seems like you boys love what you do. Correct. However, if you weren't a caddy, what would your dream job be? Whoa.
Wow.
Dream job.
I am completely drawn a blank. I have my dream job. Well, I don't know. Maybe playing. Maybe playing professionally.
No, that's a grind.
No, if I was good enough. If I was like...
But you are good enough. You just didn't get the breaks.
I just didn't have the length, bro.
Didn't have the length.
I didn't have the length.
Didn't have the length. Okay, I would own my own football team. I'd own a football team, or I would love to own a farm that was completely off grid, that we grew our own. We're like self-sufficient.
Yeah,
that would be like growing fruit and veg, but having all the knowledge, and having a really efficient.
I feel lucky that I am very content doing what I'm doing. Like, I don't really desire to do anything else to make money. I really don't.
Okay. The other one is actually taking people on golf trips.
Yeah, that would be fun. I wouldn't mind doing that.
That would be so. I got a few things. But dream job. Yeah. Maybe owning a football team would be a pain. Yeah.
Owning the Boston Red Sox and hiring Theo Epstein to be my general manager.
Next question. It's from a Jimmy P, and he is in Cedar Falls. Do you know where that is?
Iowa.
Well done. My golf friend Joey uses the same cringy lines every time we play golf.
His golf friend what?
His golf friend Joey.
Joey, okay.
Uses the same cringy lines every time we play golf.
They all do.
You boys hear them all.
Oh,
what is your least favourite cliche line that golfers you caddy for say on the course? So,
without a doubt, blind squirrel finds a nut. Hate that.
No,
you hear that 20 times a week.
The one I really don't like is, well, it kicks off on the first green and they make a birdie. Someone birdies the first.
Can't birdie him off. You don't birdie your first.
Yeah, there's always that one. I don't like that. That's a poor start.
Yeah.
However, when someone just grabs 3 wood in a par 5 and they say I didn't come all this way to lay up, that kind of just irks at me and they turn to the rest of the group for some sort of recognition that they are the Lion King. You know what I mean? They're the sort of the king of the jungle. Look at me. I'm making a big stance here. I'm doing something that's really, you're being an idiot.
And then they proceed to scull it into the bunker.
And I think from a serious point of view, when you do look at amateur golfers, golf is really hard, and when you are shite at golf and you hit one good sweat shot, it does lead to a second, it does lead to a third, it leads to a very positive outlook on the game, as opposed to either wanting to kill someone or the caddy or just quit. And if you hit a great drive, because typically it's because they've hit a really good drive in a par 5, I didn't come all the way to lay up.
Terrible.
And then they lose a ball. So now they've really just had par in their hands, because you just go 7-iron wedge. Okay, now you get 2 pops at making putt, or birdie putt, tap it in. Low risk, low stress, and then
I'm with you.
Gone.
It's frustrating.
So it's a wee bit like when someone hits a 3 wood or something else off a par 5 or off of any tee, and they hit it out of bounds, and then they got to go 3 off the tee and they grab a driver.
Yeah.
like the
gonna get better.
What happened to that is absurd, isn't it? In a way.
And people do that all the time. How about when they knock it off the tee and somebody in the group, one, you hit it, we're gonna count it.
I feel as if that one's been phased out over the
people
the
have
last
stopped doing
years.
that, but there's still the guy once in a while.
There's still one guy, one bell end.
Good question, JP.
But yeah, that'd be mine. I didn't come all this way to lay up, so yeah, you came all this way to make 7s and 8s. Greg G, he is in Gulf Breeze. Do you know where that is?
Missouri.
Florida. I watch a lot of pro golf and find the caddy golfer relationship fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think the best and worst parts of caddying on tour are?
I think they're kind of mingled together. I think the best and worst can be you spend so much time together. You get to know somebody, but sometimes you get to know somebody too well and get too comfortable. That's why these guys sometimes fire their caddies.
Interesting. That's a great answer.
Yeah, well,
I wasn't expecting that. I was
expecting something more poor.
I was expecting a poorer answer than that. It's a very high quality answer.
Well, it's true. A lot of these guys, they spend so much time with their caddies, but then they get them to know them too well, and they get too friendly with them, and then it's not really an employer-employee relationship, which sometimes those guys are better suited for the employer-employee relationship, and that's why a lot of those guys switch caddies all the time, because they don't want their friend out there. They want somebody who's working for them.
Martin Keimer used to change every single year.
Yeah.
And then I think he must have won something, and then he kept the same guy for the last 10 or 15 years. So
with him on live, yeah.
I would say the waiting around, the unpredictability of the whole situation. We don't know what we're doing this week, what we're working, an organization. The traveling part of it, no interest.
I'm with you.
But the best part might be if you have a really good player. We discussed this not long ago, where being in the mix,
gravy train on
a Sunday,
knowing you're making a ridiculous paycheck every week. You're caddying for Scotty Scheffler. I mean, he's going to win $500,000 minimum every week, pretty much. I mean, it's it's got to be pretty nice to know that you have that kind of income consistently.
Yeah.
And you're going to have that going forward for a long time.
It would be interesting to know these top 5, 10 players in the world and their caddies, how often companies are coming up to them and saying, here, can you wear this? Can you do that?
Oh, I'm sure all the time.
I don't know if it'd be all the time, but it'd be quite often. But I think on a Sunday, if you're in the mix, how exciting to be inside the ropes, especially at major tournaments, to be part of history, that people will watch the footage in 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years' time, and you're there and being part of that. That must be a huge buzz.
Huge buzz.
Next question. Do you guys know of any future plans for Tiger's TGL golf? Do you think it'll ever take off? And that is from Abby Smitherton, Fort Smith, and that is
Indiana.
Arkansas.
I like this little game we play.
I don't know why we laugh, but we laugh. Yeah. So, do any ideas if that's going to be?
I haven't looked at what his plans are, and I have no idea. And quite frankly, I don't care. I mean, it's not fun television. I mean, there's I don't know. Are people watching? I don't think so.
Numbers wouldn't suggest it.
Yeah. How long can they keep these guys paid?
Yeah. How long will the corporates keep throwing money at it? Well, it's a corporate thing. I think for as long as you can find corporate businesses willing to throw millions at it, which, by the way, if you look at sponsors of every tournament tour,
it's true.
There's an abundance of them because it's probably a huge tax break. And
true.
You know, if you're a CEO or upper management of these companies and you love golf, well, fantastic.
Yeah.
Keep the gravy train rolling. I don't think there's any real future in it. The format's poor. It's not compelling television. It's not exciting.
My thoughts exactly. It's not compelling television. You need to make something worth watching. And to me, it's not exciting to watch those guys hit into a screen on a simulator.
I don't think the team thing in live golf would have zero interest in that. The individuals, golf's an individual sport.
It's funny you say that because anytime I look at the live every time they're playing, and I never look at the team leaderboard because that's the first thing that pops up when you look on their website is the team leaderboard, and I always click over to individual because I want to see how the individual players are doing. I don't care at all about the teams.
Could you name more than 3 of the teams on live?
Range Goats.
Okay.
Crushers.
Okay. Got one here in the fan mail. If you want to send fan mail, it's called fan mail, but it's really just contact, isn't it? Top of the podcast notes, it should say something like send the boys a text. And this one came from Sticks.
Sticks?
Yeah.
Like the Sticks?
The Sticks.
He's listening?
He is.
Love you, Sticks. Miss you.
After hearing news about Joel Damon breaking up with his good friend and longtime caddy Gino Benali,
he did?
It makes me wonder what's the longest client each of you had over the years.
I'm kind of at a loss for words. Really?
There you go.
No.
So, what's the longest?
I still can't get Gino. Joel fired Gino? I don't believe it.
Okay, well,
I didn't think that would ever happen. The longest one that I've had, I would say Bill McCadden. My first year working here, 2007, worked for him every year since he's been here. Since he's been coming back every single year, and I worked for him every single year. You know, I don't know that I've had guys that I caddied for before I started here back in like 2002, 2003. That I've randomly caddied for, like they've called me, but not like steady people year after year. I'd say Bill McCadden for me. Southwestern Interiors. I would have to be about 11 years with certain people since I moved back, because then I had a 6-year period. But there was 6 or 7 episodes ago, there was a mention of a guy, was it 17 years in between? Yeah. And he just somehow contacted the pro shop or the caddy office and said, and his first words were, I couldn't believe you're still here. Oh, thanks. Thought you'd be dead by now. That's funny. So, I thought you might have a proper job, but I think that was the idea. Next piece of fan mail. Love the podcast. Good laughs when I drive to work. If you had the choice of playing with 3 golfers, either living or dead, what would your ideal playing group be? From Bridget, female golfer who plays fast and doesn't
irritate, haha. And she's from a place called Brisbane. Do you know where Brisbane is?
I do know where Brisbane is.
Go on.
Australia.
It's actually in California. Brisbane, California.
Oh, darn it.
And you know what, Bridget? If you'd actually been listening to the podcast, we've probably talked about this several times.
Oh, numerous times. Do I give the same answer or do I give a different one?
Same answer. Can't remember the last one, but I'd probably play with you, Bridget. You, Sticks, and Zabbo, and then we can school you on how to listen.
Actually, could I answer this? Because I gave the wrong answer last time. I do remember this question specifically. First and foremost, I would play with my lovely wife who plays golf, and I love you, Marianne. I'd play with you. And then my dad and probably Theo Epstein.
Thanks. I never got a shout. The couple of things I wanted to mention, right?
Okay.
A company called Peluva. Peluva.
Didn't send me any shoes.
Sent me a pair of shoes. Check them out. I am going to try them on. How would you describe those? It's individual.
You want to give me my honest answer?
Yeah, 100%.
Ugly.
I actually think they look good. I think they look quite cool. But they're one of those, it's almost like a sock shoe.
They could grow on me. If I get a pair and get to try them out, 10.5 Peluva.
10 years ago, 15 years ago, there was a whole phase of people or fad where people were wearing them. They were more like skin tight.
Yeah, like barefoot
shoes.
That's the principle of these.
This is the principle, but they actually have a sole, etc.
Yeah.
But the idea is to space your toes out, because I don't know if you look at my shoes, but I have a wide toe box, and on the ASICS shoes I have that you now wear,
they've been good to me so far.
In the same place on the right hand side, I'll always end up with a hole where it's rubbing, which means obviously my feet are asking, hey, I want spread out more.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea behind these is to spread your toes out, which would ultimately help.
Makes sense. I mean,
I don't think they're ugly. They're kind of.
It's different. It's
very different. So I'll check them out. Peluva, Peluva. And then also recently I caddied for a couple of boys from Egypt, or they're originally, their dad's from Egypt, and then their brother-in-law, a guy called Matt, and his wife, who's the Egyptian boy's sister, started a company a few years ago, Unite Bars. There you go. So the idea, if you're looking for a new snack for the golf course, try them. Unitefood.com. And the idea behind this is a more healthy snack, protein bar, but it's the flavors that are scintillating. They haven't gone for the typical sort of standard chocolate, peanut butter.
They got all sorts that I'm looking at here. I mean, they got some pretty unique ones. We got baklava, because
they're the Egyptian.
PB&J, the ever popular PB&J. Bubble tea.
That's
a good one. We got churro. Ooh, Ooh, my daughter's going to like that. Churro. We're going to give her a taste of that.
And then there's what's the coffee one?
There's a coffee one?
Yeah.
Mexican hot chocolate.
I
don't see any coffee.
Is that pink one not chocolate? Coffee?
No, that's bubble tea, milk tea flavored protein bar.
Okay, tea. But Unite, Unite, unitefood.com. Check them out. There's no, what was it we called it? Seed oils and all that garbage.
Correct.
I think
none of that bad stuff.
So check them out. Let us know what you think. Packaging is very bright, and they are involved in a lot of really good causes. So
yes,
hunger, charity work. They're doing some good work. It's not all about profit. So
correct.
That's always nice to hear. Got to move on to shoutouts, Mike, because we're almost at the end of the episode. So what do you got?
Well, the shoutouts could take 20 minutes for me. I got a bunch. Got to shout out Paul and Thor.
Get out of here.
Swear to God.
Shut up.
That's what I said too. I was like, his name is Thor, and not only is his name Thor, but you can look him up. If you're in the market for a personal injury attorney in Boston, look up my boy Thor. We play with Paul and Thor. Thor, legend. Thor is legend.
Oh, man.
Anytime we would hit a good drive, obviously Thor's hammer. Yeah, just good people. My brother and I played with my brother Augie and myself played with Paul and Thor at Maple Tree in Massachusetts. Got a shot. They're going to be podcast listeners. I told them, listen, got to shout out my scramble team. Pearson, you know who you are. Chris and Joe Zabbo. There was 3 Zabbos in a foursome. A lot of fun. We got 3rd place in a scramble.
Poor Pearson.
Chris Pearson.
I'm saying poor guy having to play with 3
Zabbos. Pretty crazy. You would have been like, oh my God, 3 Zabbos. It was crazy. Gotta shout out my Vegas peeps. Terrence, Chris, Samantha, David. Gotta shout out my Chicago guys. Danny and Josh. Josh, sorry about that gap wedge you should have hit on 13.
Settle down, Josh. Do you know what I mean? Like, but grow up.
No, he was upset. Rightfully so.
Listen, he obviously hooked it. It probably caught a wee bit of a flyer. It
landed back edge of the green.
He was probably about 6 yards long.
Yeah.
Take a little off. Learn how to take a wee bit off. And you know what? Learn how to settle down. Relax.
He did. At 14, he was like, he came up to me. He was like, bro, it's all good. We're good. We're moving on. So got to shout out those boys. We had fun. Got to shout out. Actually, he specifically said, you got to mention me on the podcast. He listens to all of them. No. My boy. So one of my best friends, Chris Levine. I get back to Rhode Island in town, and he's like, "Hey man, you want to go out in the boat tomorrow with my dad and myself? We're taking our new boat out at 4:00 and meet us down at the dock." I'm like, "Yeah, of course I do." So I go down there to the dock, and his dad was like my second dad growing up. We were really close, and so he's down talking to somebody by the boat. I don't realize my boy Levine doesn't tell Rick, his dad, that I'm in town and I'm coming on the boat. So he's talking to some dude, and I walk up behind him and I smack him in the back. I'm like, Rick, what's up? And he turns around and starts dropping expletives like, what the hell are you doing here? This is amazing. So it was really cool. He's like, hey, you got to shout me out in the Rick. Great time. Went over to his house for dinner too.
Captain Rick.
We did call him Captain Rick.
Sailor.
And Levine, got to shout you out, man. We had a lot of fun back there.
Beautiful.
Looking forward to getting back there again.
Well, I got a few here as well myself. Nick LaFountain. Hadn't seen him for ages. He's a fellow caddy.
Dedicated podcast listener. Love Nick.
He's been loving it the last couple of months. He said, we've really upped the level, Zabbo, apparently.
I tell you what. Okay, go continue, because I forgot another shot. I got another shout out I got to give.
Deep Voice James. You know who Deep Voice James is?
He was just saying the same thing about the podcast. Loving it.
We had Mary Maddox, who bought us some beers, and she thanked us for the shout out. So,
of course, Mary.
And she enjoyed having me as her caddy.
Shocking in and of
itself.
One
person this year. One happy customer. Wee Chris bought us some beers, and he's been in town.
Which Wee Chris?
Wee Chris from Arizona.
Oh, nice. He's in town?
Yeah, he is in town.
Oh, nice.
And Scott Pervenance bought some beers. Our boy Scott.
Actually, this next one.
Top lad.
This next one gets he goes same company as Scott. I got to shout out James Drinkwater. Caddied for him last year. He wanted him some Zabbo back this year. And my boy Lee Sodstrom. And James listens to all the podcasts. Loves them. He says he was like 4 or 5 times today. He's like, the banter between you and G is amazing. Like, your chemistry is really good, really loves the atmosphere. And I explained to him, he was wondering how the podcast works. What do we do before? Do we prep? Do we write things down? And I was like, did you listen to the last one? Didn't even know we were talking about the same thing. But yeah, there's very little prep work. We write a few notes, and we don't tell each other about it. He was surprised at that. We don't really tell each other about what our stories were unless we were on the same job together.
Exactly. And then finally on YouTube, we got Schnauz. Absolutely. Listening on
legend.
YouTube. Absolutely loves the lads.
Miss you too, buddy.
We miss you, old
Sticks, Schnauz, miss you both. Love you guys.
Two former legends. Zabbo, it was great having you back.
Great being back. Looking forward to the next one.
Yes, we'll be back in 2 weeks' time with another installment of Caddie Stories and Nonsense. Thank you for listening. There's 157 previous episodes, so if you're new, get back and listen to them all. Thank you for listening. However, until the next time, enjoy your golf, but more importantly,
keep it humble.